Rams, even if Sean Payton leaves. Okay. Sean McVay leaves. My bad. This is where I think is the perfect fit for Sean Payton. There's 4 reasons why I think it's the perfect fit. I know Sean a little bit. Sean, ownership matters a lot. We don't really know in that Walmart situation. They sent 3-4 different people to the microphone the day they introduced owners. Who's the owner? Rams have Stan Kroenke. Richest owner in the league, doesn't meddle, very aggressive. Number 2, Les Snead, the general manager. Southern, easy to get along with, like Sean Payton, hyper-aggressive. Number 3, Matt Stafford. When's the last time Sean Payton had a quarterback that could air it out downfield? He would love that. And number 4 is Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady may not be in the NFC much longer. This feels perfect. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, well, the Rams are in a rebuild. Well, so's Denver. But not so fast. This is what I have submitted over and over. You trade Jalen Ramsey. Because if you sign Sean Payton, you have to give the Saints a first-round pick. Trade Jalen Ramsey, get a first and a fourth, give up the first to the Saints. You say you can't do that. Yeah, you can. Of the top 5 Super Bowl favorites, 1 has a top 10 corner. You know who's got a great corner? The Jets. The Rams. The Broncos have the top 3 in the league. None are sniffing the playoffs. Of the top 5 Super Bowl favorites, each has 6-7 corners on their roster. That's 35 corners, right? 6-7 corners for 5 teams. Let's say 30 corners. 1 elite corner. Jalen Ramsey isn't winning you Super Bowls. You got to get the O-line right. You got to get the weapons right. You got to get the left tackle right. And if you trade Jalen Ramsey and get a first and a fourth, then the Rams would have a second, a third, a fourth, 2 fifths, 4 6, a seventh. They'd have 11 picks. Plenty to build around. It's not a total rebuild. Like Denver, you got to get the offensive line right, but there are pieces here. The right tackle's excellent. The center's very, very strong. They drafted a guard last year. 3rd round got hurt. He'll start. Offensive line is not a reclamation project with the Rams. It is with Denver. But I look at Sean Payton here. The owner's aggressive, and it's a singular owner. The GM's aggressive. We're in Los Angeles. LA's an aggressive city. The Dodgers are aggressive. USC went and got Lincoln Riley. They're aggressive. LA's an aggressive business city. Okay, so to me, Harbaugh is a perfect fit. Bully ball is the way to save that mess in Denver. Sean Payton, if Sean McVay leaves, and there's a very reputable people saying he is. So I have not been told. I have sources in the Rams. I have not been told McVay's leaving. But there are many people who I trust who say that. So if McVay leaves, come on, bro, you got to bring a big resume into that room. You got to bring in a Super Bowl trophy. You got to bring in a personality. You got to bring in a big brain. You can't go from Sean McVay to some first-time head coach or a defensive guy. Not going to work. When McVay walks out of that room, I'm going to tell you, that's a lot walking out of that room. That's a brain power. That's personality. That's presence. Sean McVay is hard to replace. Okay, you better bring in somebody with a resume, with a point of view that has success, that's got a shiny ring. You got to bring in somebody with power, with intellect. You got to go Sean Payton. Let me tell you something. You lose guys like McVay or Harbaugh at Michigan, you better not go get a coordinator and have him walk into the room and think that's going to work. No. McVay walks out, Payton walks in, it works. So to me, now, Matt Stafford says, McVay leaves, I'm still here. That's great news for Sean Payton. But remember, fit matters. Harbaugh's a better fit based on his resume in Denver. I think, and you know, so what? You trade Jalen Ramsey, you get a first and a fourth, and then you take that first pick, that first-round pick, you have to give it to the Saints compensation. You still have 11 picks. The Rams are not a total rebuild. Aaron Donald, Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Brian Allen, the center, was healthy. Cam Akers has emerged. Some of the young receivers are in place. They need help. They got to go get they got to shore up the O-line a little on the left side. Denver's a rebuild. Harbaugh's made a career out of rebuild. Stafford was a disaster when he took it over. He played Pete Carroll in the Coliseum a couple years in. They were a 40-point underdog. They were terrible. The Niners were terrible. Michigan with Brady Oak was terrible. Sean Payton want to do a total rebuild? Really? I don't know. I don't think Sean Payton wants to do a total rebuild, and the Rams aren't. All right. We got a lot today. Herd hierarchy, our final regular season herd hierarchy. I got into this argument. Standings. It's very interesting. There's a team that did not make the playoffs I wrestled with. Well, what are you rolling your eyes at me? What? It's not the Jets, I can assure you that.
Yeah, it's obviously not the Jets, but I think the audience wants to know who could not make the playoffs but be one of the top 10 teams in the league.
It's a team that has a lot of momentum going into next year that you loved yesterday.
Oh, yeah, let me guess. Detroit Lions?
No. They're losing Ben Johnson. He's going to get a job. Who's the team that you love next year?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Last month of the year, you think Miami's better than Pittsburgh? They're a playoff team. You think Seattle's better than Pittsburgh?
Who's a quarterback for Miami? Are we talking Tua? Are we talking Teddy Bridgewater?
I'm not saying Pittsburgh's in. I'm saying that 10 spot, highly valued, very acclaimed. We went back and forth.
I'm just going to make a prediction. The Jets, based on this coming off season, will open the herd hierarchy at number 10 next year.
Okay,
I'm still on the show at that point.
Okay, well, we'll take that into consideration. See how the summer goes. Intelligence runs in the family. Innovate. Want to go big? Landing Harbaugh is right now the leader in the clubhouse. So now I've said before, I would prefer that Harbaugh stays at Michigan. I think he's much more valuable to college football, a sport I love. But if he goes NFL, Denver is going to talk to Sean Payton and Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh's a better fit in Denver. I'll tell you why, and I'll get back to Sean Payton. Is that Harbaugh's calling card, college and pro, he builds strong offensive lines and run games. He did it at Stanford. He did it at the Niners. He did it at Michigan, 3 for 3. That's what he does. Builds O-lines and builds run games. And I think that's the way out of this mess for Denver, is that you rebuild the O-line. It's what Jim does. Javonte Williams, an emerging star running back, got hurt. He returns. You got your back. And then you ask Russell Wilson to use his mobility, like he asked Andrew Luck to, Colin Kaepernick to, Alex Smith to. Harbaugh's had the mobile quarterback, and he's always done it the same way. We got a blueprint for Jim. Denver's the blueprint. Now, Sean Payton would change the identity, but I think he would eventually be frustrated with Russell Wilson's limitations as a pocket quarterback. Drew Brees and Payton were simpatico with everything. Their personalities, the way they saw the world, the way they saw football and play design. This isn't the fit for Sean Payton, in my opinion. Sean Payton has had the ability to take good quarterbacks and elevate them. Good young quarterbacks, good. Harbaugh's won sometimes despite issues at quarterback. And there's a real possibility, I don't believe this, but many do, that Russell Wilson is way past his prime and that he's totally limited. I've seen Harbaugh win that way a lot, multiple places. Harbaugh and Payton are two different personalities and two different culture setters. And this is something else I think about. Denver is locked into Russell. Russell Wilson is not built at this point in his career to beat Mahomes and Herbert in shootouts. How do you beat Mahomes and Herbert? Specifically Mahomes. Bully ball. Run games. Keep him on the bench. That's the only way you're going to beat Mahomes. Russell's not going to outduel him. He can't out-track meet him. That's not what he does at this point in his career. The way to beat Mahomes or any great quarterback, the way to beat Marino, the way to beat, Aaron Rodgers in his prime, keep him on the bench. Build run games. It's what Harbaugh did at Stanford when they beat Pete Carroll as a 40-point underdog. They played keep away. It's how he beat the Seahawks with Kaepernick. It's how he just beat Ohio State the last 2 years at Michigan. Jim's style is perfect for Denver. And the way out of this mess, bully ball, power run games, not that clever, don't outthink the room, physicality, obsessed with winning football and playing power football. That's what Jim does. That is what Jim does. I think it's a perfect fit for him. Now, my second choice there would be Sean Payton. But this is where the Sean Payton stuff, as smart a football guy as I've ever met, gets interesting. So yesterday, Matt Stafford said, okay, I am